Thank you very much, Mr. Dell, and also the video. May I now invite our next speaker, Mr. Atu Patel, Vice President of Business Analytics from SAP Asia Pacific and Japan, to present his keynote speech on Art of the Possible. Mr. Patel will discuss how enterprises can make use of SAP solutions to change the game for better customer relations and closer collaboration with key stakeholders. Mr. Patel, please.
Thank you. Good morning. Can you all hear me at the back? Yep, good. All right, so it's always difficult to follow Mr. Dell, but I'll try my best. I've been in SAP now for over 8 years, and I have a special place in my heart for Hong Kong because I used to live here in 1995. I spent a year of my working life in Hong Kong, so it's glad to be back here in Hong Kong, and pleasure to talk to all of you this morning. So what I'm going to do for next 30 minutes is talk about art of possible that Simon talked about, taking it to the next level, and how intelligent data solution from SAP really helps you to achieve art of possible. So let's start with some numbers. You can see the numbers here, 50. Gartner estimates that by 2014, 50% of the employees within the organization will have or will require analytics access. That number, ladies and gentlemen, goes to 75% by 2020. And as of today, we only have about 10% of the employees within the organization who have access to analytics. Why is that? That's because so far, in the world that we used to live in, only the top managers or the line of business managers have access to analytics. In the world that is happening around us, as Simon described, that is changing. Today, employees and consumers are driving how decisions are being made. Decision making has become distributed, right? So every single employee within your organization will need to get access to analytics. Let me put this into perspective. Procter & Gamble, a very large company, 130,000 employees. Today, they have over 13,000 employees who are using analytics. And if you put these statistics into the play, in very near future, they need to have 100,000 employees to have access to analytics. Huge. Let me give you an example of Walmart, 2.2 million employees. And 75% of that is 1.6 million employees needs to be armed with analytics. What's happening? On the data side of the house, 80% of the growth is being witnessed by all of us in the volume of data. You saw that in the opening video. In the history of mankind, whatever data we created from the start till 2003, same data was created since I landed Hong Kong last night at 10 o'clock from Tokyo. So amount of data that's being created is huge. And ladies and gentlemen, it's hard to conceptualize what this data means. Let me give a couple of examples. In the world that we live in today, right, my grandfathers and my uncles, they still do farming back in India, right? When I went there in a vacation last month, I brought them my iPad, right? First time ever. Within 1 month, my uncle has generated the information that he has never generated in his 75 years old life. So amount of data that's being generated is huge, and that's happening in your personal life. And that's being now taken over, moved forward to the corporate life as well. So I believe we are at an inflection point. There is an inflection point happening today between what every single employee wants and what they are being faced with, the volume of the data, the velocity of the data. The companies, ladies and gentlemen, which can take advantage of this complex set of data that's being faced with and put in a place a system, they will actually be able to benefit from this flashpoint. So it's actually a challenge as well as an opportunity. So if you put that into perspective of the population today and number of people that is being employed in the organization today, organization has become now more and more young. There are a lot more young people in the organization today. And when you are young, you've grown up with the new generation, the Facebook, the social media, the Twitter. What you do in your personal life, for example, if you are, if you're lost, if you're in a new city, you want to find a place, you go to Google Map. Not only that, it tells me how to get there, it also tells me what is the best route to take for me to get from here to there. Should I take a taxi? Should I take a subway? Or should I just walk? Now think about that into the corporate life today. Expectations in the personal life that we have with respect to technology, you are going to carry forward the same expectation as you go into the corporate life. Today, even though if I've been in SAP for 8 years, when I go to a new office or a new location and someone tells me this is a conference room, I was in SAP China last week. I was in Sybase office. It took me 20 minutes to find where the conference room is, right? Even after I found where the conference room is, I didn't know where the toilet was. I didn't know where the next coffee machine was. I didn't know where the printer was. Why is it that in the personal life we have all of this capability, and why is it not there in the business environment? So there's a lot of challenges and a lot of opportunity that exists to automate what's happening in your personal life into the business life. And so the expectations are huge. And as we talked about, explosion of the data is really changing the game. Today, a lot of organizations are still using very old matrices to measure the financial success. They're looking at the balance sheets, looking at the income statements. Like Simon talked about, you need to look at the social sentiment. You need to look at what people are saying about your products and services on the web. The Chobani example was a great one. You need to really understand what preferences people are talking about and put that into the place. You also need to look at the risk that's being faced in your industry by continuously monitoring what's happening around your industry from a risk point of view. So there's basically lots and lots of information lots and lots of new trends that's happening around you. And today, if you cannot provide the business user and all employees an ability to really make sense out of this big data, I think you will lag behind. So SAP's proposition is to provide an intelligent data framework which really turns the big data that you see on the bottom part of the screen, turn that into the intelligent data which can be used in the real time at the point of decision making with the right device, completely trusted. So that's really what SAP is offering, intelligent data solution to really make sure that you can have adoption of analytics across your enterprise and you can create a competitive advantage. There are tools out there, business intelligence software being deployed by companies over the years. But ladies and gentlemen, that's been restricted to, again, portion of the employees within the organization. Maybe 10%, as I said, have access to business intelligence software. We need to expand that to provide access to what I call the distributed decision making that is happening today in the world. So you need to provide access to every single employee of the organization, and that access needs to be secure, available on the mobile device, right in time for their decision making. We have the solution for business intelligence platform, mobile business intelligence offering, which allows you to do that and extend the power of analytics to a broader set of users within the organization. I will show you a demonstration of that as we go forward in the presentation. Obviously, when you are informing and making sure that your entire organization is across to the analytics use cases, you also need to align that with the company's goals and objectives. What your company wants to achieve, what your board wants to achieve, what are your financial performance indicators, what are your initiatives, key initiatives to drive those strategy, and you need to align that with rest of the organization. Not just the finance team, but every single part of your organization needs to be aligned with the company's goals and the strategy, and they need to know how I'm contributing, whether I'm a clerk or whether I'm someone who's sitting in the corner office, how am I contributing to the company's goals and objective. We have world's leading enterprise performance management solution, which allows you to do end-to-end performance management integrated with business intelligence to really give you a integrated business planning across all different levels of organization, as well as provide you an efficient financial close scenarios. We have thousands of customers of business intelligence, and as you know, we are number one in this space for a number of years. We have also about close to 1,200 EPM customers in APJ. Again, we are number one in this space in Asia Pacific in Japan. And then once you align that to your organization, you need to also make sure that you adapt to the risk, adapt to the environmental, strategic, operational, financial risk that your company is being faced with. You need to ensure that you have a risk intelligent platform in your organization. I was talking to State Chip Pack, one of the largest semiconductor company in Singapore. Their CFO told me they have 1,200 users who are accessing SAP ERP, and they wanted to make sure that they wanted to reduce the potential fraud that might happen within the organization. They implemented SAP GRC to reduce the potential of fraud happening and removing all excess fraud violation that could potentially take place. So you really need to be agile and adaptive to the risk that's being faced with in the world that we live in today. SAP GRC solutions, we got about 500 customers here in APJ, which allows you to really make sure that you have a system which is ready to work in this new world that we live in. And all of this, if you do all of this, there's significant reward. Nucleus Research said that $1 in analytics investment give you $10.66 in return. I'll repeat that. $1 that you invest in analytics, you get $10.66 in return. So this is more than 800% return on what you are investing in analytics. So at this stage, what I'll do is I'll talk about a customer who has really adopted this. The customer is called Fresh Direct, and let me see if I can put through a video for this customer.
Fresh Direct is the largest online grocer serving the New York marketplace. The core value proposition that we offer is the ability to offer the highest quality fresh foods available in the marketplace at the best prices. Typically, we sell our products at 10 to 15% less than the local New York competitors, and with the added convenience of home delivery, which is a real time saver for most families in New York. Information is the lifeblood of our business. And we have been very committed to using information to manage our business. It's kind of like the air that we breathe.
SAP ERP manages production throughout our plant. 300,000 square feet, fully refrigerated, 7,000 products, 1,500 employees. SAP ERP is managing it on a second-by-second basis. There is a lot of data that is flowing through our ERP system.
When we first set up the business, we had just an enormous amount of data, but very little bit of useful information. And over the last several years, how we've used a lot of our technology has been trying to convert that data into reports and real-time information that gives our managers deeper into the field, able to react very quickly to our customer issues.
In our delivery process, for example, we didn't necessarily have these systems in place to gain visibility into the workflow performance. So when it came time to solve problems, we were required to comb through a series of reports, which was incredibly time-consuming and rarely yielded any visibility into the real issues. SAP Business Objects bridge that information gap and has helped us improve many of our customer service metrics.
One thing that's unique about SAP Business Objects is that it actually allows you to connect your business intelligence directly to your source systems and demonstrate that you can get meaningful, valuable reports without having to spend a ton of money. We started using SAP Business Objects to slice and dice the information and understand the problems that we were seeing that came from the data in new ways that we'd never understood before.
Thank you for calling Offset Rahat speaking. I'm happy.
At FreshDirect, we have some of the best operation people, and we believe that empowering them with the right information to solve operational problems will lead us to higher levels of customer satisfaction. So let's say, for example, one of our delivery trucks is delayed greater than the normal threshold. That particular truck will show up on the SAP Business Objects exception screen. Now, at that point in time, the Operations Center agent takes control of that exception and will use the information around it to determine the best remedial solution. Now, oftentimes, that includes dispatching auxiliary delivery teams to meet up with that truck and expedite the delivery of any orders that are at risk for not meeting the original time commitment.
The customers get their orders and they have no idea that we hit traffic or that one of our trucks broke down, because the SAP Business Objects technology has allowed us to intervene an hour before the customer is even affected.
I believe that the SAP Business Objects platform has actually allowed us to engage employees in a different way, because we're giving them the tools to better do their job.
Our SAP Business Objects products have actually allowed us to bridge a gap, to bring data from multiple systems into one report. Processes like inventory management, shipping dock management. We're actually able to marry this data together and put it on a plasma screen in real time.
The FreshDirect brand is about trust. You have said, please shop online, and we're going to trust you to pick out our fish, cut our meat for you, check the produce, which is a very personal experience for people. And for us to get that right, and we produce hundreds of thousands of transactions a day, we cannot break that trust by making any mistake. And it's amazing when you give the manager the tools, they can solve the problems themselves.
Right, so what you saw there was they use SAP Business Object technology to really provide real-time access. Let me just put this back. So they almost have 99.6% success rate in terms of delivering their food, groceries on time, and they actually use SAP Business Object platform to do that. We have many such customers who have done this. We have customers like Infosys. We have customers like Citibank. We have customers all across. As I said, thousands of customers are using SAP Business Objects across APJ, really getting benefit out of their analytics investment. With respect to enterprise performance management, I was in Tokyo before coming here, and I met with a customer called NIDIC, N-I-D-I-C. NIDIC is a high-tech company who produces the brushless motor, which is in your iPod. So they are the world leader manufacturing in producing the brushless motors. The company, headquartered out of Japan, has got various manufacturing plants. They have plants in Thailand. And when I met with NIDIC earlier this week, the customer told me that last year there was massive flood in Thailand. And they could actually avoid the disastrous impact into the business, into the financial supply chain, with the help of SAP BPC. If they had not implemented BPC, the impact of the disasters could have been even more financially, as well as from a customer satisfaction standpoint. So with the help of implementation of SAP BPC and end-to-end performance management application, they were able to quickly react to the disastrous situations such as flood, impacting their financial supply chain, and ability to readjust their targets in almost real time. That's an example of how an integrated business planning and consolidation application can really help you to be competitively differentiative in cases like when natural disaster hits you. And I already talked about GRC, an example of state chip pack. So we have a number of customers around BI, EPM, and GRC who have benefited and provided intelligent data to their enterprise customers, to their enterprise employees. Sorry. And we are number one in this space. And by far, as you see, this is across business analytics. We got 23% share, and by far we are the number one against any of our nearest competitor. Another example that I wanted to give in the space of business intelligence is a company from New Zealand, Frucor Beverages. They were looking at providing more insight, trying to reduce the cost of providing reporting and analytics to their end users. They implemented SAP Business Object BI, and now basically they can create reports 5 times faster than before. Huge amount of benefit. And there are a number of such stories. I can go on and on. But the point is that we have a number of customers who have done this, and it is proven in terms of delivering innovations for which you can actually put to the use even starting today. So what is the focus of business intelligence? There's a 5-pillar focus within the business intelligence portfolio. We have a very, very solid core. Core of BI is Business Intelligence 4.0. We are building into this core a huge amount of scalability as well as a support for different types of user experiences. So whether you are a casual user or a business user or a financial analyst or a management executive or a line of business manager or a self-service user, all these different types of users have got the experiences that we provide as part of the BI platform, as part of the core. In the second pillar, which is creative, we have extended our offering in Business Explorer, and we have provided a new offering called Visual Intelligence, which allows you to do self-service discovery on your desktop, on your laptop, in the offline mode or in a connected mode, where you don't really need any support from IT, and you can create your own deep dive analysis based on what you have on your desktop. That's creative. We have expanded our entire offering of business intelligence into mobile devices, which we have been talking about this morning. Extreme, something that Simon talked about, really turning the big data into the meaningful insights, which really is driving the momentum that we are seeing in this space today. By the way, we had huge growth in the first half of this year in the space of business analytics, and that's driven significantly through one of those pillars, the extreme pillar. We have also announced a new offering called predictive analysis, and later on in the shop floor, you would be able to see and meet with us if you want to know more about predictive analysis. This is an offering where we are able to provide end-to-end view in terms of how, based on the historical information, applying certain models and predict what's going to happen in future. And social, where we have social collaboration tools like social and media analytics that Simon talked about, NetBase, as well as our own collaborative software called Streamwork. So this is the 5 pillar of the BI strategy. What I'll do now is I'll just show you the quick demo in terms of what we have on my iPad. So if I can switch on to my iPad, just give you a flavor of applications that we have on my iPad. So you can see this is just a sample of applications that I have loaded up on my iPad. SAP BI, the first one. You can go and download this application from Apple iStore today. We got over 300,000 downloads. It's one of the hottest application out there. You can just type on to SAP Business Object Mobile BI, and you can download this free of cost. Once you download, you can see some of the reports that you have it available here. I was talking about GRC earlier. So if you have implemented GRC, you can see your GRC analytics. What are the controls you put in place? You can see what are the risks that your enterprise is facing. What are the different excess risks that you have, and how the excess risks have come down. How potential violations of your system has come down. You can also see the coverage of the controls across the regions. So it's just one example of how we have mobilized the entire analytics onto the mobile devices. This is an example of GRC analytics. We have similarly EPM analytics and line of business analytics, which is made available here. You could also look at, in the same one, you can look at going back and look at different types of reports here. You can look at the insurance mobile dashboard. You can look at, let me go and sign on to another instance and see if I can show you the retail market analysis data. So if I can, let me go in and see, click here. As Simon was talking about Zara, so if I am a merchandising manager of Zara, I want to see what's happening in my market. I get a view of that information presented to me here. I can see the view year by quarter. I can see the lines and the stores' names. I can look at the details. The moment I click on it, it gives me further details. And I can see the monthly margin on across lines of product by categories, by revenue. Interestingly, here I can see here, once I click here, in last year in Q4, we went down. So if we went down, I wanted to really understand why. So if I click on drilling, and I can do a real-time drilling, ladies and gentlemen, on my mobile devices, and I can now get a view of Q4 of last year. So the view has now changed to that of Q4 of last year. So I can get a view of October, November, and December. And again, I can see, comparing with previous years, that we had some problem last December. During Christmas time, sales were down. So that's really an issue. So what I need to do now is I need to really take a look at this and provide a really detailed view around this. So I can annotate this, and I can maybe also put some comments if I want to. I can add additional comments here and say we need to fix this. And I can also then do what I call blur or cropping. So I can say, okay, I don't want this particular information here. I want this information presented, but I want this to be blur. So they get a directional view, but not really they cannot read what's out there. Once I'm done with this, I could actually send this as an email. And once I send this as an email, the entire view will be sent across. You can open this report in a browser, so some people who don't have mobile device, they can see it on their PC or desktop, or people who have mobile device can see it on their mobile handheld as well. Or I can connect this to Streamwork. This is Streamwork is a collaborative decision-making environment, which is a software as a service available on demand. So if you go to ondemand.com and sapstreamwork.com, you can register free of cost, and you can connect and create the activity based on what we are talking about here. Review retail sales. I can create a new activity here. I can create the objective learn from past. And I can invite, says Simon, as and once I'm doing this, now it becomes an activity where I can get not only the employees within the organization, but also my trading partners and suppliers to collaborate with me. So this is just an example of what is possible on the mobile PI. We have another great application called Explorer, which also you can download from the iStore, and you can play around with. This is a self-service BI application, and I can go on. There is also a mobile EPM application, which allows the financial users to really have a view around on their handheld devices what's happening within their financial activities. That you can see a view of the closing process, the financial closing process. You can drill down and zoom into where the controls have failed. I can take a look at it, say Malaysia is not doing well. Their financial controls have failed. Currency translation has not started. Consolidation hasn't started. I can send them an email and say, okay, we need to review this. So if you are a controller or a financial person in the audience, or your financial people, they can actually take advantage of this and this application, and they have a real-time view of what's happening within the financial process. Similar things you could do with respect to your planning processes. and you can have a view around what's happening within your planning processes on the mobile devices. So these are just some of the examples. We also have treasury management application on the go. So we are really creating the whole era of financial application as well as business intelligence application on the mobile. So if I can switch back, and that's sort of my next slide around how the financial application that I talked about allows you as a finance person, if you're a finance person in the audience, there are three things that we offer within our NRX portfolio. First, how do you make sure that your organization is agile and is able to respond to the various risk and compliance pressure that's being faced? Second, how you could actually increase the stakeholders' expectation, how you can outperform stakeholders' expectation. And third, how can you provide superior service, shared services at the lowest possible cost? We have solutions for each of these three pillars, which we can offer to provide end-to-end financial excellence. And ladies and gentlemen, we are the leader as far as the financial excellence comes. We have over 6,000 EPM customers, over 57,000 ERP customers, and we have an end-to-end financial offering which goes across all processes of finance. So with that, this is my final slide. What I want to tell you is that we are marking the new age today. What I want to submit to you is that the age of the software was fun, that's over. Welcome to the age of the data. And also what I want to submit to you is that it is my own prediction that in next 2 or 3 years, there will be a new category of C-level executives that will be created. It's called Chief Analytics Officer, CAO. And Chief Analytics Officer would have the same level of influence working together with CMOs and CIOs and CFOs. Chief Analytics Officer would use his or her influence to really drive the company in that respective industry to really take a competitive advantage out of what's happening in the marketplace today. So if you are looking for call to actions, really 3 things. First things, take a look at your enterprise and see how many people today have got access to analytics, right? How can you increase that 5 or 10% or 15% who have access to analytics? How you can increase that to 75%? So first, step number 1, take a look at where you are today. Step number 2, take a look at in your industry, in your products and services that you are selling, how you can take advantage of the big data to turn that into intelligent insight, how you can turn that into competitive differentiator. And step number 3, work together with SAP and our partners to really build a roadmap where we can help you build the roadmap to turn this big data into intelligent insight. With that, thank you so much for your time this morning.